Hi, my name is Salma Miskeen. I'm the founder of In-Harmony Education. In-Harmony Education is a personal development institute for mothers who are looking to heal, reconnect and rebuild a life so that they can connect with their daughters and parent with peace and ease. I'm a mother of 5 amazing daughters, and my program, the Empowered Mother System, is based on 3 themes: helping mothers heal, find their identity, and build their connection with themselves and lead with self-compassion and self-love.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show, the #1 place for coaches, consultants, and brave humans who are tired of carrying emotional weight that isn't theirs. And I hope you're ready to finally live, lead, and parent from a place of inner harmony. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvenga, and if you're watching this right now, you're probably a mother of daughters or a woman aged over 35 who's been shrinking themselves to find peace, or you're battling self-doubt or struggling to reconnect with who you really are. This episode is going to speak directly to your soul. And if you're just joining us for the very first time, don't forget to subscribe on whatever platform that you're listening on so that you never miss any of the conversations that will help you create a happier and more peaceful existence. Now, today I'm really excited and have the absolute pleasure to be welcoming the incredible Salma Miskeen. Now, Salma, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Prosper.
Fantastic. Now, for those that are meeting Salma for the very first time, Salma is a lifelong learner, educator, mother of 5. Yeah, I have said 5, and the founder of In-Harmony Education. She's also the woman who's quietly helping mothers heal generational patterns, rebuild their confidence, and also lead within using the empowerment coaching that she's going to be talking about, and also positive intelligence. All right. And for those that are wondering what this call is going to be about, I think this is going to be fun, transformational, and yes, a little bit of the unexpected, because we're going to unpack Salma's journey from being an adult educator to an empowerment coach. And then also the moment in 2013 that actually changed the trajectory of her life, and everything in between, the fear of invisibility, which she literally had to overcome, and also the invisible lessons she now teaches other women who have actually forgotten their own power or their own essence. And we're going to be exploring all that and the personal breakthroughs that she encountered that then shaped the program she has, which is the Empowered Mothers System. So if you're watching this and you are thinking to yourself, I might need to know a thing or two about this, I want you to hold on to your seats, because this is going to be an explosive episode. Now, Salma, I could go on and talk about things I'm not even qualified to talk about. You had a completely different life before In-Harmony Education. Tell us a little bit about the journey while you were an adult educator, and what made you realize that I might be helping people to learn, but am I actually helping women who are looking for healing?
Yeah, thank you, Prosper. That was quite an introduction. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And just to add to that, I'm a mother of 5 amazing daughters. And what led me to create the Empowered Mother System it all started in around 2018, 2019. I had just completed my master's degree in education, coaching, and mentoring. And as coaching changed the trajectory of my life in 2013, as you mentioned, I was looking to set up an online business so I could reach women globally. So women like my former self who were struggling to connect with their daughters, were experiencing moments of disconnect and really don't know what is going on, why they have that friction. And the moment of discovery came when I was teaching a class of adults, women predominantly. And when I was doing my introductions and we were having the conversations, I noticed some women feeling quite disconnected and sad. And I approached this woman in particular. And she said, "Your story is so inspirational, Salma. We are the same age." She had discovered this by now because I'm very open when I am sharing, when I'm connecting with my fellow colleagues and learners. And she said that we have the same amount of children, but look where you are. You're doing amazing things. And I'm still in a rented home. My children have left home. I hardly see them. My partner has moved back home and I'm all alone. And she was very sad. And here she was in the mainstream college to learn English. And she was here because the situation forced her hand to be there. She didn't want to be there. She was there because she wanted to, it was her benefits depended on her to be there because she was told by the systems to attend college so she could improve her language skills so she could get a job. And as I worked in mainstream education, working with women, more and more I discovered that these women need healing first before they can actually choose the path that they desire. They shouldn't be here because they're forced to be here. They should be here because this is their calling. And that's when I decided that I've been blessed. I've had the opportunity to heal, rediscover myself and connect with myself. And I live a beautiful, peaceful life. And I want the same for other women from my generation, especially. And it went deeper than that because when a woman is carrying that emotional trauma, a mother is carrying that emotional trauma from areas of struggle like emotional or relational wounds, and she hasn't recovered from those, or she has a conflict in her self-belief and identity, or she's going through mental health and well-being challenges, so many different areas of struggle we all have. And if she doesn't recover from them, then silently those traumas get passed on to her daughters. And I experienced that. I saw that with one of my daughters, that when I was struggling as a young parent with my emotional wounds from my childhood and my relational wounds, subconsciously they were adopted by my daughter. And it affected her self-esteem and her self-worth. That when she entered the life of motherhood and as an adult in a relationship, she struggled with setting boundaries, having the confidence, knowing her self-worth. And I think that was the defining moment for me, that it's very important that we heal. And I was so grateful to see that, what was going on, because I had healed by then and I was able to support her. And that's the reason why I feel there's a need for the empowered mother system, that when we heal, and mothers should be seen as leaders. We are leaders in our own domain. We are leading the next generation. I feel the society doesn't give us the importance. The mother's rank should be raised. It's a professional job. I feel it's a professional job that we're doing. We're placed with this huge responsibility in a mother's role. If we were to break down and just look at her role, she plays so many roles within that motherhood.
Absolutely.
She nurses them, she nurtures the children, she educates them, the taxi driver, she liaises with the educators to give her children the best. She mediates between the establishments and what is going on with the child. She does so much. And I feel that it's not recognized enough. And mothers, we need to have a system, we need to have a program. And that's the reason why I created the Empowered Mother System program, so we can educate mothers. We need to be educated before we become, now there's no shame in saying this, but mothers, either you become accidental mothers or you choose to become a mom. And whichever way, you've become a mom, a huge responsibility is placed upon you. And if you're a young mom,
absolutely,
and if you've not had the best experience, then sorry, go on.
Great stuff. And thank you so much, because there's a lot to unpack there, and I just wanted
there is a lot.
I just wanted to go into it so that we can, obviously walk at the same pace as the listener here. Now, Salma, I have 2 girls, and it's like a whole circus in there, and I can only imagine what breakfast is like with 5 all at the same time, all having different cereals and different milks. And I don't know if that's the same case in your household.
Well, now in my household, it's just myself and my youngest daughter, my 14-year-old. 4 are living in their purpose. They are 3 of them are absolutely amazing mothers.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And whilst they're managing motherhood, they are doing extraordinary things out there too, balancing both. And looking at them, it's a real sense of achievement. That is my legacy, because I see them grounded. I see them healing. I see them reconnecting and, leading from within, rather than the external factors are just pulling them in all direction, rather than them driven by their own emotional wounds.
Absolutely. I wanted us to drive to that, because obviously we wanted to establish you having those kids, but they went on to be, well-adjusted humans. But you did mention that you were also battling, before this, you were also battling a journey of connection with your own mother. And that was then translated to your other kid, as you have said that in there. Would you maybe care to just elaborate a little bit on what that felt like for you? Were you understanding it at the time, or is it something you later realized later that the connection was not there?
When I was in my 20s, as a young person, and especially when a lot is happening around you, you're managing your emotions and everything, and when life is not going the way you want it to go, you tend to cast the blame on your parents for little things. You only have one way of seeing things, and that's how I was seeing it. I was just casting the blame. Oh, my parents did this, or if they hadn't done this, my life would be a lot more different. So I was caught up in that mentality, the victim mentality, as I call it. But when I did my healing, even in my 30s, I came to realize, because I wasn't the perfect parent. I was a passionate parent, but I was operating from guilt, because I had left a marriage, my choice, and I felt guilty for that. And that's when I realized that my parents weren't perfect, but they were loving, doting parents. they gave us a stable home and a stable environment. But I wasn't ever connected. I didn't have that maternal, that emotional connection with my mother. And that's because in that era, obviously she had 8 children, and the focus was just to make sure that the children are safe and sound, provided for, cared for. She didn't have time. She was domesticated. She was doing taking care of the home, and while my dad was the provider, so it was difficult for her to give that emotional connection that a child desires. That nurturing, that love that I felt that I needed, and I felt that I missed out on. So I did a lot of that with my children. I made sure that I told them that I loved them, and but before my healing, I was operating from a place of guilt because I felt guilty for leaving the marriage. And as a result of that, I felt that I was overcompensating by giving them things and trying to please them with material things and take them on extensive holidays and provide for them. But yet I carried a lot of sadness. I carried a lot of emotional baggage. They saw me sad. I was in a relationship that was not the ideal. I had moved from one marriage into another marriage, and I wasn't emotionally healed. And that relationship, as quick as it started, it frizzled out. And that relationship, I was stuck with it for 16 years because of my own limiting beliefs that now I have 3 daughters, I must stay in this. What is the society going to think of me? What is it, from the cultural perspective? And I chose to stay stuck in that situation. I was unhappy. So that unhappiness led to an emotional baggage that I was carrying. Again, identity and the confidence and the conflicts that we can face when we are in those stuck situations. And yeah. So absolutely. I was operating from that for a very long time, trying to be a passionate mother, but struggling with my emotional baggage that I was carrying, blaming my parents and blaming myself and feeling stuck. And that it was like very conflicted situation. It was an internal battle that I was carrying for such a long time. It was just draining.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that. And I mean, obviously, you brought up a point here where you say you were putting the blame on the parents. And half of the time, parents are only just doing what they can with the information they have at that particular time. As you have elaborated, there was 7 other siblings that also would have required their love and attention and things of that nature. Did the other 7 siblings experience what you were experiencing, or was this a journey that you needed to take on your own?
I think the other siblings actually did, to some extent, experience that. And then we all came to understand as we grew up and we became parents ourselves that was the era, that was the generation back then. So parenting, again, going back to bringing you back to the attention of the reason why the empowered mother system is created, is that parenting, just like leadership and any other profession, adapts with the society and the changes. So should parenting. We should be adapting and adapting.
Right.
To gain mastery, to learn motherhood, because society is changing.
Yeah.
And we can't parent with what we learned 20 years ago because things were different. Mindsets were different. Society was different. Media was different. Education system. Children have a voice, which is good, but a lot of parents are I come across now, they say that the daughters don't listen, the children don't listen. They struggle to set boundaries with them.
Absolutely. And what I like about that is it leads us into how you then, obviously in 2013, underwent some therapeutic coaching, which you say completely changed your life. And so many people don't necessarily go out and seek for solutions in order for them to actually better themselves. You know, it is what it is. It's always been like this, and that's how my parents did it. And then they just keep passing on that generational trauma along the way. So could you maybe take us to that moment where you underwent this coaching, and what really shifted inside of you that you couldn't unsee afterwards?
Oh, it was a huge moment of transformation, and I'm so blessed to have gone through everything to have arrived at that moment. In 2011, my beloved father passed away. He was the pillar of the home, absolutely loving, doting father. And 3 weeks before that, I had my youngest daughter. So I had a newborn. And I was also going through my relationship struggle. By this time, I was like, I had enough. I had just wanted to break free, but I was like, how am I even going to do it? And losing my father, having my child, and a year later, my eldest daughter got married, left home. So by 2012, I was feeling sadness. My relationship I had made a concrete decision to walk away from my relationship. I moved away. And and I was feeling lonely. I was feeling sad. I was grieving. And I just wanted to experience joy. And I was done with people pleasing. I was feeling so much disconnect. I didn't want to go to the doctors. I knew I was experiencing some kind of depression, but because being in the childcare sector, I thought it's going to damage my career. And I've got 3 children to take care of. So I typed something into Google to help me therapeutic coach, not therapeutic coaching, help me, I'm depressed, or I need some, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what I typed into Google at the time, but that's when I found therapeutic coaching. And my coach was based in the US, and everything the program offered, it was just like, yes, I want this. I want to be able to set boundaries and say no. I want to be able to have a relationship with my mother that is nurturing and it's connection and it's not out of obligation. And I was desiring that. And I wanted this sadness to go away. And I felt that patterns started to emerge as I read through that content, and I realized that what I was experiencing in my personal life was also showing up in the workplace. People pleasing tendencies. Now, these sort of things didn't exist in my vocabulary at the time. What is people pleasing? We can go on about that forever. You know, I didn't have the courage to ever say no. I was always doing more because I was conditioned that if we do more, that is how you will get your recognition. If you say no, you're not being a good person. So, and again, it goes back to the paradigms and the traditions and the cultures and the beliefs that you are raised with. So anyway, I plucked up the courage to invest in myself, to have coaching, therapeutic coaching. It was a 6-month program. My coach held a safe space for me. It was a huge moment of liberation where I was able to sit with a stranger and just speak from my heart and let it all out. I don't think I'd ever let it out. For 4 decades, I was carrying all kinds of stuff. Everything was just everywhere. But she was able to unpick it. And yeah, I took a leap of faith and I joined the program. And then since then, my life bit by bit changed. I set boundaries for myself. I understood what my values were, what my beliefs were about parenting. I felt stronger. I felt confident. I was able to say no. I was able to build a relationship with my mother. I quit the blaming game. I took responsibility. Life was becoming beautiful. It was becoming empowering. Things were just changing, from why is life so hard? Why is it so difficult? I can't ask for help, to asking for help comfortably. Little things like that.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for
And the
sharing.
results in my life then, changed.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that. Now, you did obviously mention there was cultural luggage, there was societal expectation, which seemingly was stopping you in your tracks and keeping you, retain these patterns and things like that. Now, for women that are watching this who secretly struggle with the one thing that you had, which is people pleasing, and maybe are hearing it for the very first time, or sometimes it's called imposter syndrome, where you literally have to be something that you're not, just so that you go along with the status quo and things of that nature. What were the very sort of first signs that told you you were stuck in these patterns? Because some people don't quite realize, and fish don't see the water they swim in.
Yeah. I don't think I saw any of it till I started my coaching because, like I said, those words weren't even in my vocabulary. And it's when I started my coaching journey and I then started to embark on personal development that this whole world emerged, and it blew my mind. And I realized that why is it that we have never talked about this in our education system, especially back then? It is emerging now. Children have more awareness. They have they have curriculum in the school that teaches children how to uphold themselves, how to connect with themselves psychologically. There's a lot of more psychologically and psychology and philosophical views that are emerging in the society. But back then, when I was growing up, moving from a daughter to becoming a wife, and then to becoming a mother, and then to becoming an educator, and I was just pulled by the external paradigm. So none of this existed. So going back to what you were saying, people pleasing tendencies, it was, I started to realize that why didn't I have the courage to say no when I should have said no? Why was I going against my will all the time? What was making me do this? And then that came from doing the inner work. When we started to do the inner work to discover, peeling back the layers from tradition to culture, right down to values, because that's your core. What is the driving force?
Absolutely.
What
And
drives you in different contexts? So when you are able to set those values in different contexts, how do you want to show up as a parent, as a woman? What are your beliefs? What are your values? And that's when you start setting your standards and your boundaries. And that's how you start feeling empowered.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for that, because so many people, as you said, you were discovering this for the very first time. And when you started going around, obviously showcasing the results that you were receiving, you did say some mothers were telling you that you're so lucky you've got all these good relationships with your daughters and things like that. And obviously you realized that this wasn't luck. You work towards this. Now, is it, when did you then decide from there that I think this is something that other people needed to learn, or did you just keep going and, the learning, then the teaching then came a little bit after that?
Yeah. It was around 2018, 2019 that I started hearing more and more that, people looking at people around in my community, even in my family, like, you're so lucky, you have a good relationship with your daughters, you travel, you're living a prosperous life, you're peaceful, and that smile and that glow. And I guess it was attracting attention. And when people kept saying that you're so lucky, and I thought, no, it's not luck, actually. It's about what I've been learning as I've been going along and discovering and healing. It started off with healing, looking into the mirror and having the courage to understand and owning where I am right now. Because if we can be brave enough and accept where we are right now, that's where your healing begins. Your healing journey begins. So it was healing, reconnecting, rebuilding, and understanding yourself, learning what you learn, and implementing those strategies and the mindset and the habits. Like I said, it's a whole different world. It starts from you. You are the driver of your vehicle.
And
See,
we already have deep set beliefs, and we already have a way of being, and obviously taking the template of what our parents would have taught us, as parents, and things like that. But what you're talking about is sort of rewiring yourself at a cellular level.
At a cellular level, exactly that. Yes, you have to. And it's hard. One of my mentors used to say that you have to enter the inner gym. You have to go to the mental gym.
There's a lot of heavy
like the physical. There's a physical, yes, there's a physical gym. You go to the physical gym to, strengthen your body. But what about the mental gym? Because your thoughts hijack you. How many thoughts do we have per second? Like thousands of thoughts. And how many of those are serving you and those that are not serving you? For a very long time, to escape the reality, I would retreat inwards. I would just stay in my thoughts. And subconsciously, it's like when you know the route to your home, and you've had a long day at work and things have gone on, you're driving autopilot if you're an experienced driver, right? And that's your subconscious mind. You're going to let it drive you from the old program. And people say they keep getting if you keep getting the results that are not serving you, then you have to go back to, like what you said, rewire the mind, rewire our subconscious program, rewrite our program.
Now, this is obviously foreign to a lot of people that wouldn't have understood. Some people turn to religion or whatever customs that, their parents would have passed down to them and everything else. And having to look within is not something that we're taught. We're always told to look to authorities. A doctor will give you some sort of medicine. A teacher will give you some sort of lessons. What is the response that you get from people? People must think you're delusional, Salma.
I think the world that I'm in now and the people that I'm surrounded by, they get this. But yeah, I get what you're saying, because initially when I started this, it did seem very foreign. But it was like magic as well. It's like I had found a magic key, that I was doing something different. I was tweaking my mind, changing my mindset from the negative to the positive, flipping that switch. And it was at my will that I was able to do it. I was able to become an observer of my thoughts and catch them, change them. I decided which side of the bed I was going to wake up from. I was setting the intention. I knew how I was going to get into my vehicle. So it was just like a magical world. Yeah, you're right there. So some people will think you're delusional, but it's beautiful. Lead from within, and your life will change. You choose how you want to live. Yes, we have religion. Yes, we have policies. Yes, we have authorities. Yes, we have the whole world telling us how to be. Pick and choose.
And
Choose
what happens
it.
to the immediate relationships? Like maybe the relationship with the partner, because when you change at a cellular level, the person they would have stood with on the aisle is not at the altar is not necessarily that person who is now in front of them, and things of that nature. And also the kids that would have fed from you are now having to reintroduce themselves to somebody who's changed from that particular level. What does that look like in terms of relationships, that people will start experiencing when they stop self-sabotaging or self-sacrificing?
Yeah. So that's a good, that's a really good point. Things change when you change from within and you've set your paradigm. You then start operating from that. And then people who love you and respect you will love and respect you. They're the people that will stay with you. And if they don't, they'll just drop off. Because you've become aligned with yourself. You're whole, you're complete, you're confident. And you don't want to go backwards where you start people pleasing again, start shrinking to meet their needs. You should be comfortable in your skin to say, this is my boundary. This is my standard. And those that love you will respect that. I had the same thing with my daughters. It took some time because when I was operating from a place of guilt as a mother, I was overgiving, overcompensating, people pleasing. That people pleasing tendency showed in my motherhood as well, never able to say no, always available. But when they became adults and my life was changing, I started to set boundaries and I explained to them and we had conversations and they understood, and now they do the same for them and they love it. Mm-hmm. So people the ones that love you, they will respect you, respect your ways. They will not allow you to shrink. They will respect who you've become. And if it's the person at the altar that you said yes to, and they will grow, you will become the example. Yeah. And if they want to follow, they'll follow because you're the best version of yourself. And if they don't, then that was your journey up to there. Up to that point. That's how you see it. You can't, there's no attachment, you're free. You're free spirit.
You know what I like about that is just last weekend I was interstate. I was in Brisbane, and we flew one of those low cost airlines, and they would sell you a cheaper ticket, right? But they will then catch you on, do you want more leg room? Do you want to add more luggage? Mm-hmm. And then the ticket thing starts getting a little bit bigger, or the price gets bigger. And they give you an allocation with the luggage, which is 7 kilos. If your luggage is 7.1 or 7.5, you literally are going to be paying twice or double the seat that you have just to bring that little bit of kilos there. So what that taught me is a lot of people are traveling heavy and it's costing them a lot. Mm. Absolutely.
It is.
So you've gone on and created programs that help people to not then go back, because it's easy to step up and do these things, but you now, create those little rails so that people can, be empowered and move on. So maybe just walk us through, if somebody's looking at this and watching this, what can they then, be empowered to do or learn, and how can they get a hold of your programs?
Yeah. I think for every mother and woman and every human being, we desire peace, having peace and prosperity. Beautiful. 2 worlds, life gifts that we desire to have. And we don't shrink back to ourselves. The Empowered Mother system teaches us to become aligned with who we are. and how we want to show up in the world. And it takes you through the process of healing, reconnecting, and rebuilding yourself so you can thrive. You can not only survive, but thrive as well. So you can have better, fulfilling relationships. So yeah, it's a nice 12-week program. It doesn't happen overnight. For some people, it will take longer. But we're all on our own journey. And it's very uncomfortable. For me, when I started, I struggled with a lot of things because my family have a certain way of doing things. And I now wanted to do things differently. I wanted to break some traditions. And I got a lot of backlash for it. It wasn't easy, but you have to have the courage. If this is what you desire, either you can follow or you can become a leader. And you choose your own peace, because you know that if you are going to give in to something that is not aligned with you, you're going to experience that conflict and that discomfort, which is not very a nice feeling. And that when we carry feelings like that, then that leads to bigger problems, health problems.
Great. So where can people go to on the internet, Salma, to, learn a little bit about what you do and how you can help them?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's www.In-Harmony Education.com, and I'm also on Facebook. They can find me under my name, Salma Miskeen. I'm also on Instagram, and they can email me. So yeah, I'm trying to become more and more visible and learn about social media so I can put myself out there and help women who really want to heal and take control of their lives. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. I'll make sure that all those links are in the show notes so that people can actually get started on those journeys. Now, Salma, there's a misconception, in your field. I speak to a lot of coaches and consultants, and people think that healing means you're digging into that trauma forever, and you're constantly having to go through all of these things and relive whatever younger self version would have experienced, instead of just living the moment and looking into the future and things like that. Now, what's one myth about empowerment work or the mother-daughter relationships that you actually wish people would stop believing?
Yeah, you said it, and that is something that is so beautiful. That living the moment. We are not living in the moment. We are not seizing the moment. But a disempowered mother, how can she seize the moment if she has not healed? And yes, healing, and what I love about coaching is coaching helps you bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be. So the past is the past. The past is only a lesson now. The present is what counts. It's what you sow today. That's what you will reap tomorrow. So start whatever you can do. So that's why I say that set intentions, your intention for the day. How are you going to get out of bed? What is going to be the driving force? What are you going to do that is going to serve you tomorrow? The past we can only learn from. Yes, it shouldn't have happened. Yes, it was uncomfortable. Yes, it was painful. But use that. Every woman, every mother has a story. Every human being has a story. We use that story as a catalyst for the story to help others, to help us grow, to learn from that. What can we learn from that situation? It was painful. It wasn't nice. But revisiting and reliving that moment over and over and over again, that becomes your paradigm. That becomes your truth. And that becomes your reality.
Wow.
So they say that when people don't, you live 40 years and or you've lived, and you live 40 years doing the same thing over and over again, then you haven't lived 40 years. You've lived the 1 year. But when you live 40 years doing every day something different that is going to expand your growth is going to expand in your career, in your relationships, in your motherhood journey, in every aspect of your life, then you're growing, you're evolving.
And speaking of growing, maybe somebody is probably listening to this and thinking, maybe it's a little bit too late for me. I'm a little bit too old, or I'm tired. Where do I even begin with this and things of that nature? What's the sort of one message that you'd want them to hear from you today?
Yeah, the one message that I would like on that point, that healing begins with one brave moment of honesty. So if you can just acknowledge what is holding you back, or even understand that there is a problem or there is an issue, or take some responsibility for what is going on in your life, that will change the trajectory of everything. It's about owning what is going on. And we don't have to do, healing doesn't happen overnight. It's lifelong. It's just that one moment of honesty and having the courage.
Absolutely. Feel the fear and do it anyway, because like
Yeah,
you
feel
said,
the fear.
it's going internally and you're going to meet things that you thought were buried in there and you're going to have to face them. And that's the only way to heal. Now, Salma, you've taken us on a journey and this has been such a soul replenishing conversation. And, you know, for so many people, I feel like you've just given them permission because they haven't had some of the words that you're talking about, you know, like people pleasing, you know, the ownership, and actually understanding that whatever burdens you're carrying, you can literally say no by putting boundaries on you. You know what I mean? When you were saying that, I just envisioned an African woman in the village carrying wood or water on top of her head, and I was just saying to them, it doesn't have to be like that. You can move to a place where taps are available and electricity runs through, you know, the wires and things like that. But you've
I
taken us.
love the way, yeah, I love the way you've put that. But the image that you just said, the African woman carrying the water on her head, that is physical burden. The emotional burden is a lot more lagging. And what you just said was like the giving yourself that permission is so valuable. We can give ourselves permission.
Say, well, you've brought us into your world now. We're almost, you know, knowing exactly where to light the lights and switch on and off, and where to open the water and everything else. What's next now that we're in your space? What are you working on right now that we can be excited about? See, like I'm already sitting front row seats right now, waiting for the next thing to see what are you working on, Salma.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that for the last 6 months I've spent with a coach overcoming my own fear of visibility. Now that I am stepping into my fear and doing it anyway, I would like to see the Empowered Mother system program every part of the globe. Every mother should go through some kind of a healing process. I mean, there's a lot of products and podcasts and books and audios on parenting, and education is good. But education without the healing, it's just going to be mere entertainment, because if you're not healed, you can't implement it at a subconscious level. So you need to rewire your program. So yeah, I'm looking forward to collaborating with other coaches, educators, people who are doing similar work. I want to enter their world and make this a huge movement and a source for every mother who wants to parent with peace and ease and enjoy motherhood as well as the purpose that she wants to step into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't wait to see you reaching out to so many people, because in our world, parenthood is not taught. It is caught, and you never know what came through that net that you just caught. And so many of us are just going off of a script or you know, a presentation from 1935, and maybe our parents were watching it on black and white TV and they couldn't see all the words, and yet we're just going on with that particular script, and we haven't dared to change it now that we've got powerful engines.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that we had this moment in time, Salma.
I am really grateful. And I'm grateful to our parents for doing the best that they could as well. Because remember, they were on the same journey as we are. And they did what they could.
Absolutely.
And some people have had it good, some people have had it bad. We've all had an experience. But going forward, we can change things. We can become empowered mothers, leaders in our own domain. Thank you, Prosper, for having me. It's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm really grateful to be here.
Absolutely. And for those that are watching right now, if today's episode just made you pause, breathe, or maybe see a little bit of yourself in Salma's journey, that was a sign. All right. Healing is not just for special people or for those that are specially ordained or tapped on the shoulder. It's for everyday people and women, especially, who are tired of surviving and ready to finally live with confidence, clarity, and harmony. So be sure to check out Salma's work at In-Harmony Education Ltd, and also book your free pay what you can discovery call that she is offering. And while you're at it, why don't you share this episode with a mother or a woman who actually needed to hear this message today? And I think whatever you would have done would actually have helped to spread this message. As you heard, Salma wants this to be a worldwide movement. And if somebody has shared this video with you, thank them the next time they see you, because they see something in you that you don't quite know as yet. And while you're at it, subscribe to the Online Prosperity Show, because you do not want to miss out on life transforming episodes like this. Until next time, I don't know what you're going to do with the information you got today, but bye for now.